The morning light of Uria poured through the floating crystal structures above the city, scattering waves of color across the living ground below. The entire planet seemed to wake with the sunrise. The plants slowly opened their glowing leaves. The crystal towers hummed softly. And the air itself carried a strange energy that Alex was beginning to recognize. A feeling, a presence, something alive. He opened his eyes and remained still for a moment, listening. Back on Earth, mornings had always felt ordinary. Here, every sunrise felt like the planet was speaking. The previous day had been overwhelming. Alex had spent hours exploring the alien city, trying to understand the mysterious force the Urians called the life current. It wasn't technology. It wasn't magic. It was something deeper, a connection between every living thing on Uria. The plants, the creatures, the people. Everything was linked. Every emotion, every memory, every moment of joy or sadness seemed to flow through the world like invisible rivers. And for a human mind, it was almost impossible to understand. But Alex had tried, because he knew that if he wanted to build peace between humanity and the Urians, he couldn't just study their civilization. He had to understand it. Today, Lyra had promised him something different. Today, he would leave the city. He would see the true heart of Uria. Not the buildings, not the technology, the planet itself. Lyra was waiting for him in the garden. Her glowing patterns were brighter than usual, shifting across her skin like living stars. Alex noticed it immediately. "You look different today." Lyra smiled. "The planet feels different today." She placed a hand gently against one of the crystal plants beside her. Uria knows when something important is happening. Alex looked around. "You mean the planet can sense us?" Lyra nodded. "Not just sense." A pause. Connect. The answer still confused him. But after everything he had seen, Alex was starting to believe almost anything was possible. Lyra turned toward the path leading away from the city. "Today you will see more than our homes. You will see how we live, how we survive, how we feel." She looked at him carefully. "But you must be patient." Her voice became more serious. "The life current is much stronger beyond the city. Your mind is not used to carrying so many emotions at once." Alex adjusted the strap of his satchel. Inside were his notes, equipment, and everything he thought he would need. But somehow, he already knew none of it would prepare him for what was ahead. "What happens if it overwhelms me?" Lyra looked toward the distant forests glowing beneath the crystal mountains. "Some humans who came before you ran away." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Ran away?" "Yes, because they felt things they did not understand." She looked back at him. Fear, sadness, memories that were not their own. The words made Alex stop. "Memories?" Lyra nodded slowly. "The life current does not only carry feelings, it carries stories." For the first time that morning, Alex felt nervous. Not because he was afraid of Lyria, but because he realized he wasn't just visiting another world. He was about to experience it, completely. Lyra began walking. Alex followed. Together, they left the shining city behind. The path ahead disappeared into forests of glowing trees and rivers that flowed upward toward the sky. With every step, Alex felt something changing. The air became heavier. The world became louder. Not with sound, with emotion. And somewhere deep inside him, Alex understood. When he returned from this journey, he would not be the same person who had arrived. Because Uria was not simply showing him a planet. It was showing him another way to exist. He felt a flutter of nerves mixed with excitement. Despite the challenges of the previous day, he was eager to explore, to understand, to connect. Lyra offered him her hand, and together they stepped into a small vehicle that hovered effortlessly above the ground. The vehicle responded to Lyra's touch, gliding smoothly through the city and into the wild open landscapes beyond. As they left the city, Alex's eyes widened. The terrain of Uria was breathtaking. Rolling hills glowed softly under the light of floating crystal formations. Forests of luminous trees stretched to the horizon, and rivers of liquid light meandered. Through valleys sparkling with an inner brilliance, strange creatures flitted between the trees, some resembling birds with translucent wings, others floating like ribbons of light, moving gracefully through the air. Alex tried to take it all in, his mind racing with observations and theories. Lyra spoke as they traveled. Our planet is alive in ways humans cannot fully comprehend. The life current flows through every living thing, connecting us. It is a bond that guides our society, protects our world, and teaches us empathy. You may not feel it the same way as we do, but you can sense it. You already felt a spark yesterday, even if it was faint. That is the first step. Alex listened intently. He had spent his life studying energy and the laws of physics, but nothing in his education had prepared him for this. This world was alive not just in the biological sense, but in an emotional and spiritual sense, all intertwined with energy that could be seen, felt, and shared. He wanted desperately to understand it, to bridge the gap between his human mind and this alien emotional reality. They reached a wide valley surrounded by glowing cliffs. In the center flowed a river of liquid light, shimmering with colors that shifted like a rainbow. Lyra gestured to the water. This river is called the Stream of Reflection. Its energy is ancient and strong. Anyone who enters it can experience visions of themselves, of others, of the world around them. It is not always easy, but it shows the truth within. Alex stepped closer, mesmerized by the river's glow. Visions? He asked. Like dreams? Lyra nodded. Yes, but more vivid. You will feel the emotions connected to the images. It is a way for us to understand ourselves and others. If you are willing, you may experience it too. Alex hesitated, then nodded. He had come so far already. If this was a part of understanding Yuria and Lyra's world, he wanted to try. He stepped into the shallow edge of the river. Immediately, a wave of warmth and light flowed through him. At first, it was overwhelming. His mind was flooded with images, memories of Lyra, of her city, of the playful children, of the energy link, rituals. But interwoven with the images were emotions, joy, sadness, curiosity, and a longing he had never felt before. He gasped, stepping back slightly, struggling to focus. Lyra reached out, guiding him. Breathe, Alex. Do not resist. Let it flow through you. Do not try to force feelings. Just observe. Just sense. Slowly, Alex allowed himself to relax. The images and emotions were still strong, but instead of retreating, he focused on them. He noticed small things. The happiness of the children, the gentle pride in Lyra's eyes when she explained her people's customs, the subtle sadness she carried when he could not feel the same as she did. He realized that understanding was not just about matching emotions, but about recognizing and respecting them. As he stood in the river, a vision appeared that startled him. He saw himself back on Earth in his lab, alone with his machines, staring at the stars. He felt the familiar loneliness he had carried for years, the longing to understand the unknown, the desire to connect with something greater than himself. And then he realized it was connected to the life current. His human emotions, though different, were part of the same universal flow. He could understand the alien feelings, not by becoming them, but by recognizing the parallels with his own heart. Lyra's voice broke through the vision. Do you see, Alex? You already have the capacity to feel, to understand. It is not that you lack emotion. You experience it differently. That difference is not a weakness. It is part of who you are. Alex blinked, overwhelmed. I think I understand a little. It's strange, but I can sense the connection now, even if it is not like yours. Lyra smiled, a soft glow emanating from her patterns. That is enough for now. Feeling comes in steps. Each experience will bring you closer, and you will learn more about yourself as well as our world. They left the river and continued their journey, hiking through forests of glowing flora. The air was alive with the hum of life, and Alex noticed how even the smallest creatures seemed to radiate energy. Birds with luminous wings darted between the trees, leaving trails of light. Small fox-like creatures with crystalline tails peeked from behind bushes, curious but unafraid. Alex was captivated. He felt a subtle warmth in his chest, a mix of awe, appreciation, and a strange curiosity about life itself. Lyra noticed his gaze. You are beginning to feel it, she said softly. It is not our way of feeling, but it is real. It is your own way. Alex nodded. a sense of relief washing over him. For the first time, he felt that he was not entirely disconnected, that his human emotions could coexist with the life current rather than being overshadowed by it. They camped that night on a cliff overlooking a valley of floating lights. Lyra built a small energy dome to protect them, and the view was breathtaking. Thousands of luminous creatures moved in the valley below, creating a living tapestry of motion and color. Alex felt a profound sense of wonder and humility. The universe was vast and mysterious, and he had only glimpsed a fraction of its possibilities. As they sat by a small energy fire, Lyra turned to him. "Alex, yesterday I asked why you did not feel anything for me. Do you feel differently now?" Alex thought carefully. I think I am beginning to understand. I feel something, but it is confusing. I don't know if it is the same as what you feel, but it matters to me. I care about you, Lyra. I want to understand you, even if it takes time." Lyra's eyes glimmered, a mixture of hope and relief. "That is all I ask, Alex. Understanding, care, willingness to try. It is enough. Emotions are not always simple. They grow and change. You have taken the first step." Over the next few days, they continued exploring Iria. They faced natural challenges together, navigating floating crystal bridges, crossing rivers of light, and observing creatures that tested their courage and cooperation. Each challenge brought Alex closer to understanding the life current, not just intellectually, but through action. When he helped Lyra through a difficult climb, he felt a new depth of care. When he protected a young creature from harm, he experienced a strange satisfaction that blended empathy and responsibility. Through these shared experiences, Alex realized that connection was not always about feeling the exact same way as someone else. It was about recognizing, respecting, and responding to their emotions. And slowly, he began to sense a bond with Lyra, not identical to her own energy, but real in its own human way. One evening, as they rested by a waterfall of glowing water, Lyra reached for his hand. "Alex," she said softly, "you have grown. You're beginning to feel in your own way. That is the start of understanding." Alex squeezed her hand gently. "I am trying, Lyra. I promise I will keep trying." She smiled, her patterns glowing softly in the fading light. "And that is enough. Sometimes effort is stronger than instinct. You are learning something precious, how to connect across worlds." As night fell, the stars above Iria shone brighter than any Alex had ever seen. He felt a quiet sense of peace. The journey was far from over, but he was no longer lost. He had glimpsed the possibilities of connection, and he understood that the path to truly feeling for Lyra would take patience, courage, and openness. And for the first time, he felt ready to embrace it. Alex had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe. Ever since he was a child, he spent countless nights gazing at the stars from his small apartment window, imagining what lay beyond the planets he could see with his naked eye. He studied physics and astronomy at university, driven by a deep curiosity about the unknown. Now, as a young scientist working at a research facility on the outskirts of the city, he spent his days surrounded by advanced machines, analyzing energy patterns, and searching for anomalies that could explain strange phenomena. On this particular day, Alex was alone in the lab, tinkering with a new energy sensor designed to detect unusual waves in the atmosphere. The air was quiet, except for the hum of the machines and the occasional beep of his equipment. He carefully adjusted the sensor, making sure it was calibrated to detect even the smallest fluctuations in energy. His fingers moved swiftly over the controls, his mind focused on the numbers and graphs appearing on the screen. Suddenly, the device began to emit a soft, pulsing glow. The reading spiked, showing a type of energy Alex had never seen before. His heart raced with excitement. Could this be the breakthrough he had been waiting for? He quickly recorded the data, thinking about how this anomaly could change everything he knew about physics. As he watched the readings, a strange vibration filled the room, soft at first, then growing stronger. The lights flickered, and Alex felt a tingling sensation running through his body. He stepped back from the machine, unsure of what was happening, and reached for the emergency shutdown switch. But before he could press it, a blinding light engulfed the entire laboratory. The glow was so intense that he had to close his eyes. When he opened them, he realized he was no longer in his familiar lab. The place he found himself in was breathtaking. He stood in a world bathed in a gentle, otherworldly light. The sky shimmered with colors he had never seen, blending shades of violet, turquoise, and gold. Strange plants with glowing leaves stretched toward the sky, and the air was filled with a soft hum, as if the world itself were alive and singing. Floating crystals hovered above the ground, rotating slowly and emitting a gentle glow that illuminated the landscape. Alex took a cautious step forward, his mind racing with questions. Where was he? How had he arrived here? Was this some sort of advanced simulation? Or had he actually traveled to another world? The ground beneath him felt soft yet solid, like walking on a thick carpet made of living moss. The air was sweet and refreshing, carrying scents that reminded him of flowers on Earth, but more vibrant, more alive. As he wandered, he marveled at the strange beauty around him, his scientific mind trying to make sense of the impossible environment. It was then that he noticed a figure approaching from a distance. At first, he thought it was one of the strange holograms or projections he had seen in simulations. But as the figure came closer, he realized it was real. The being was humanoid, but unlike any human he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered with soft patterns that glowed faintly in rhythm with her movements, like a living constellation. Her eyes were large and deep, reflecting the colors of the sky, and her hair floated slightly as if suspended in water. She moved gracefully, her steps barely making a sound. Yet, Alex felt a presence that was both gentle and powerful. He instinctively bowed slightly, unsure if this gesture was appropriate in this unknown world. The figure stopped a few feet away and looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and sadness. "Hello," she said, her voice melodic and soothing, carrying a warmth that seemed to reach directly into Alex's mind. "I am Princess Lyra. You are not from here." Alex swallowed hard. The words were clear, but his mind struggled to comprehend the situation. I'm Alex. I'm human. I don't know how I got here. I was in my lab." And then he trailed off, unsure how to explain the blinding light or the sudden shift from Earth to this alien world. Lyra's expression softened, and she gestured for him to follow her. "Come with me. There is much to explain. This place is called Uria. You are safe here, though it is unusual for a human to arrive. Few have ever seen this world." As they walked together, Alex noticed the details of the city around them. Buildings were crafted from translucent materials that seemed alive, shifting and adapting with the environment. Bridges curved gracefully over streams of glowing water, and creatures that looked like a mix of birds and jellyfish floated lazily through the air. The atmosphere was serene yet vibrant, filled with life and energy that felt almost tangible. Alex could sense it too, though not fully understand it. Lyra spoke gently as they walked. "Our people live in harmony with the energy of this world. It flows through everything: plants, water, even the air. We call it the life current. It connects us all and allows us to feel the emotions of those around us. It is a bond that gives our society strength and unity." Alex nodded slowly, listening intently. His scientific mind was trying to process her words to find a logical explanation for the life current. Could it be some kind of bioelectric field, or a form of energy humans had not yet discovered? He wanted to ask countless questions, but he sensed that Lyra wanted him to experience the world first, rather than just analyze it. They reached a large plaza where a fountain made of floating crystals reflected the sky above. The water shimmered in colors that seemed impossible, dancing with light as if alive. Lyra stopped and turned to face Alex. "I can feel that you are curious human. You wish to understand, to observe. That is wise. But here understanding is not only through logic, it is also through feeling. Our emotions are energy. They are connected. You may not feel it now, but it will come in time." Alex looked at her, noticing the subtle sadness in her expression. There was a vulnerability he did not expect from a princess of being so graceful and powerful. I'm trying," he said softly. "I don't know how to feel what you feel. It's different from anything I've ever experienced." Lyra nodded, her gaze distant for a moment, as if lost in thought. "I know it is not your fault. Human hearts are different from ours, but I hoped that you might understand, just a little, that you might feel something." For the first time, Alex felt a pang of guilt. He had always prided himself on his intelligence, his ability to learn and adapt. Yet here he was, faced with an entirely new kind of being, and he could not grasp even the simplest connection she offered. He wanted to explain, to reassure her, but words felt inadequate. They continued walking through the city, and Lyra showed him the bustling life of her people. They moved gracefully, communicating, not just with words, but with subtle pulses of energy that connected them. Alex watched in awe as a group of children played, their laughter echoing with a resonance that seemed to touch his chest, stirring emotions he could not name. He realized then that he had entered a world not just alien in appearance, but alien in the very way beings experienced existence. As the sun or whatever passed for a sun in this world began to set, casting long shadows across the glowing streets, Lyra led Alex to a quiet garden filled with floating lanterns and luminescent flowers. She gestured for him to sit beside her. "Rest, human. There is much to see, but your mind must also absorb it slowly. Do not worry if you do not feel everything now. That is natural." Alex exhaled, feeling both exhausted and exhilarated. The day had been overwhelming, filled with wonders and mysteries that defied everything he knew. Yet, despite the strangeness, he felt a flicker of something he could not define, a sense of being on the edge of discovery, not just scientifically, but personally. He glanced at Lyra, who watched him with gentle eyes, and he wondered what it would mean to truly understand her world, to bridge the gap between human and alien emotion. For the first time, Alex felt that his journey had only just begun, and that the answers he sought would not come from machines or equations alone, but from the connections he could forge with beings like Lyra, whose hearts and energies pulsed with a rhythm entirely foreign, yet deeply compelling. And in that moment, he realized that he had crossed a threshold, not just into another world, but into a realm where the human heart and the alien spirit might one day meet. After resting in the glowing garden, Alex woke to the soft hum of Uria's morning energy. The world outside was bathed in gentle light, with crystal structures reflecting colors that shifted like waves. He stepped out carefully, feeling the soft living ground beneath his feet, and saw Lyra waiting for him. Her glowing patterns pulsed lightly in rhythm with the world around her. And when she noticed Alex, she smiled softly, a mixture of warmth and concern in her eyes. "Good morning, Alex," she said, her voice gentle. "Today, I want to show you how my people live. You will see more of our ways, and maybe begin to understand why our connections are so important." Alex nodded, feeling both nervous and excited. He followed her as she led him through the city. The streets were alive with movement. Beings with translucent wings glided above, while others moved gracefully on the ground, leaving faint trails of glowing light behind them. Children played in the air, forming shapes with bursts of energy that sparkled and faded. Alex watched in awe, trying to capture every detail. As they walked, Lyra explained their customs. "Our society is built on connection. We share our feelings, not just with words, but through the life current. It flows through us and lets us understand each other deeply. We can sense happiness, fear, sadness, even love, and it guides our actions and decisions." Alex listened carefully, fascinated. He tried to imagine a world where feelings were not only understood, but physically sensed and shared. On Earth, emotions were personal, private, sometimes misunderstood. Here they were almost tangible, like threads connecting everyone. He felt a small tug in his chest as he realized how different this world was. Lyra stopped by a large circular building, made of luminous materials, that shifted and shimmered in the sunlight. "This is our Hall of Learning," she said. "Here we study not only the universe but also ourselves. Understanding our own emotions is as important as understanding the world around us." Inside, Alex saw beings practicing subtle gestures, their hands moving in patterns that caused soft waves of light to ripple through the room. He could feel faint traces of emotion, like gentle breezes brushing against his mind. Some beings smiled and exchanged greetings, their emotions flowing into one another seamlessly. Alex tried to mimic a few gestures, but he felt awkward, disconnected. No matter how hard he tried, he could not feel what they felt. Lyra noticed his struggle and placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. "Do not worry, Alex. It is normal. Humans are not naturally attuned to the life current. Your feelings are different, but that does not mean you cannot understand. You just need time and patience." Alex nodded, grateful for her patience. He wanted to connect, To feel the bond Lyra seemed to share effortlessly with her people, but each attempt left him frustrated. He could see the beauty in their emotions, the way their energy intertwined, but he could not replicate it. He felt like an outsider looking through a window at a world he could admire, but not touch. Lyra led him to a small plaza where a group of young aliens practiced what she called energy link rituals. They formed circles touching fingertips as faint streams of light connected them. As they moved, Alex could sense warmth, joy, and laughter flowing through the circle. Lyra turned to him. "Would you like to try?" Alex hesitated. I don't know if I can." "You can," Lyra said firmly but gently. "You do not have to force it. Just open your mind and observe. Feel what is around you, even if it is different." With her encouragement, Alex stepped into the circle. At first, it was overwhelming. Waves of emotion, joy, curiosity, playfulness washed over him. His chest felt tight, his head dizzy. He wanted to respond, to join, but his own feelings seemed muted, distant. The others noticed, and their energy gently flowed around him, not pushing, just embracing. Lyra reached for his hand. As their fingers touched, he felt a spark, subtle, unlike the intense waves around him, but undeniable. It was the first time he sensed a connection in Yuria, and it startled him. His heart beat faster, his mind racing with curiosity and wonder. I felt something," he whispered. Lyra smiled softly, her eyes bright. "Yes, that is your connection. Not the same as ours, but real. It will grow with understanding and trust." For the rest of the day, Lyra guided Alex through the city. He saw marketplaces where alien merchants traded glowing fruits and crystals, each imbued with subtle energies. He watched artists create sculptures that seemed alive, shifting with the observer's emotions. He visited parks where alien families shared meals, their laughter blending into a soft, harmonious hum that made the air feel alive. Despite the beauty and the wonder, Alex felt a pang of guilt. Lyra's earlier sadness haunted him. She had looked at him with hope and longing, and he had not been able to meet her gaze fully. He wanted to explain, to tell her that his inability to feel like her people was not a lack of care, but he worried his words would sound hollow. During a quiet moment, Lyra led him to a balcony overlooking a river of liquid light flowing through the city like a glowing ribbon. "Alex," she said softly, "I can sense that you are trying, but it is hard for you, isn't it?" Alex nodded, words catching in his throat. "Yes, I want to understand. I really do. But everything here is so different from what I do. No, I can see the feelings. I can see the connections, but I cannot feel them the same way you do." Lyra's gaze softened, but her sadness remained. "I hoped that you might feel at least a little for me. I hoped that your presence here, your curiosity and courage might awaken something inside. But perhaps humans are not ready for what we feel." Alex felt a lump in his throat. He hated seeing her sad, hated feeling powerless to give her what she desired. "Lyra, it is not that I do not care," he said earnestly. "I care. I am just learning how." Lyra studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "That is all I ask for now. Understanding takes time, even between our worlds. We will continue step by step." As evening approached, the sky darkened into deep shades of blue and purple, dotted with floating lights that resembled distant stars. Alex and Lyra walked through the city streets, now softly illuminated by the glowing flora and fauna. The air was filled with the quiet music of life, a symphony of energy that seemed to echo through the hearts of everyone in Yuria. Lyra paused at a quiet garden, smaller than the one near his arrival, but equally beautiful. "This is where I come when I need to think," she said, gesturing to a bench surrounded by flowers that glowed softly. "It is a place of peace, where the life current feels calm and balanced." Alex sat beside her, feeling a strange mixture of exhaustion and wonder. His mind was full of questions, observations, and emotions he did not fully understand. Yet, being here in this alien world, with Lyra beside him, he felt a sense of calm he could not explain. Lyra turned to him, her eyes shining in the soft light. "Alex, I must ask you something." Her voice trembled slightly, as if she were revealing something deeply personal. "Why? Why don't you feel anything for me? You are here, yet your heart seems distant. I see you, I sense you, yet I feel nothing in return. Do you not care at all?" Alex was silent for a moment, struggling to find words. Lyra, it's not that I don't care. I do. I am just different. Your world, your ways, your feelings, they are unlike anything I've ever experienced. I cannot match them yet. I want to, but I don't know how. Lyra looked away, the glow of her patterns dimming slightly. I understand, Alex, but it still hurts. Alex reached out and gently touched her hand. I know it does. I wish I could change that immediately. I wish I could feel the same as you, but I promise I will try. I want to understand, and I want to feel what you feel, even if it takes time. She turned to him, her eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and sorrow. Time? Yes. Perhaps time will help you see Alex. Perhaps one day you will understand more than I can explain. The night deepened, and the city of Iria glowed like a jewel under the alien sky. Alex and Lyra sat quietly side by side, the silence filled with unspoken understanding. Though a gap remained between their hearts, a seed of connection had been planted. Alex realized that the journey ahead would be challenging, that he would have to learn not only about this world, but about his own capacity for emotion and empathy. And Lyra, despite her sadness, felt a small flicker of hope. The human beside her was trying, learning, and perhaps in time, he might truly feel what she had been waiting for, a connection that could bridge two worlds. The following morning, Uria's skies were painted in soft shades of pink and gold, the floating crystals casting gentle reflections across the landscape. Alex awoke with a sense of anticipation and nervousness. The last few days had taught him much about this alien world, but he knew there were still gaps in his understanding, especially about Lyra and the connection she sought. He found her waiting at the edge of a glowing forest, her patterns shimmering softly. Good morning, Alex, Lyra said with a smile. Today, we will face a challenge together. It is not dangerous, but it will test your understanding of our world and your connection to me. Alex nodded, curious but unsure what the challenge would be. Lyra led him through the forest, the air humming with the life current. The trees glowed faintly, their leaves pulsing with energy. Strange creatures peeked from behind trunks, observing the pair as they passed. Every step Alex took, he felt a faint tug in his chest, as if the world itself were nudging him to notice, to feel, to respond. After walking for some time, they reached a cliff overlooking a vast valley. The valley was filled with swirling mists of color, shifting patterns of light and energy. Lyra gestured to the view. This is the Valley of Reflection. Many of my people come here to test themselves. The valley shows not only the world, but the truth within. If you are ready, step forward and let it guide you. Alex hesitated. The last time he had faced visions in the stream of reflection, it had been overwhelming, but now he felt a quiet resolve. He took a deep breath and stepped toward the edge. Immediately, the valley responded. Colors and shapes swirled faster, and images of both his past and Uria's current events appeared. Alex saw himself as a child alone in his room, staring at the stars and wishing to connect with the universe. He saw his teachers and mentors guiding him, pushing him to explore. And interwoven with those memories were visions of Lyra, her moments of joy, her moments of sorrow, her hope that he might one day understand her feelings. Alex felt a strange mixture of fear, awe, and empathy. He realized that his inability to feel as Lyra did had not been a flaw, but a difference. Human emotions were slower to surface, shaped by logic and reflection, not the instant resonance of the life current. Yet, they were no less real. He could see Lyra's hope, her longing, and her care, and it stirred a new sense of responsibility in him. He wanted to connect, not because of obligation, but because he genuinely cared for her. Lyra watched him closely, her eyes gentle but searching. Alex, she said softly, you are learning. Can you feel what the valley shows you? Alex nodded slowly. Yes, in my own way. It is not the same as you, but I understand. I see your feelings, and I care about them. I want to connect with you even if it takes time. Lyra's gaze softened, but a faint sadness remained. That is all I ask, Alex. Understanding does not always come instantly. It grows through experience, through care, through trust. You are beginning to see, and that is enough for now. They spent the rest of the day in the valley, observing the patterns of life and energy. Alex noticed small details he had missed before. The way the light shifted when creatures approached each other, how the energy pulsed differently when beings were happy, sad, or curious. Slowly, he began to sense subtle connections, moments of resonance that hinted at the life current's depth. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, Lyra led him to a small cave lined with glowing crystals. Inside, the energy was calm and concentrated, and the light reflected off the walls in a mesmerizing pattern. "This is a place for reflection," Lyra explained. "Here we face ourselves and our truths." "You may ask me anything, Alex. I will answer honestly." Alex hesitated, then spoke. "Lyra, yesterday you asked why I did not feel for you. I have been thinking about it constantly. I want to understand, but I worry that my emotions are too different from yours, that I may never truly connect with you in the way you wish." Lyra stepped closer, her glow gentle and comforting. "Alex, I asked because I care, but it is not a demand. Humans and my people experience emotion differently. Yes, but that does not mean you cannot care, cannot connect. The fact that you are here, willing to learn, willing to try, that is a connection in itself." Alex felt a wave of relief mixed with lingering guilt. "I want to care in your way, Lyra, but I also realize that I can care in my way. I am beginning to understand, even if it is slow. Will you? Will you wait for me?" Lyra smiled softly. "I will wait. Patience is part of love and connection. You are learning, and that is what matters. Understanding grows over time, not instantly, and you have already grown so much." As night fell, they sat together in the cave, observing the soft pulse of the crystals. Alex felt a sense of calm he had not experienced before. He understood that connection was not about instant emotion, but about effort, empathy, and shared experience. And he realized that he was beginning to feel in ways that were uniquely his, bridging the gap between human and alien understanding. The next day, their journey continued as they navigated natural challenges, scaling floating rock formations, crossing rivers of light, and observing creatures that tested their courage and cooperation. Each trial deepened Alex's understanding of Yuria and Lyra's world. He began to sense the subtle currents of energy, to anticipate shifts in emotion, and to respond with care and empathy. During a particularly difficult climb, Lyra slipped on a glowing rock. Alex reacted instinctively, catching her and holding her close. He felt a surge of emotion, fear, relief, protectiveness, and a deepening care he had never experienced before. Lyra looked into his eyes, seeing something different there, a human heart learning to connect. "You are beginning to feel Alex," she whispered. "Not as we do, but in your own way. That is enough." By the time they returned to the city, Alex felt a profound shift within himself. He understood that emotions could be expressed differently, that connection did not require identical feelings, and that effort and care were just as powerful as instinctual resonance. Lyra's hope, which had once been tinged with sadness, now carried a sense of cautious optimism. They had taken steps toward mutual understanding, and the bond between them was stronger than ever. That night, as they rested under the glowing sky, Alex reflected on everything he had learned. Yuria was more than a beautiful world. It was a living, breathing network of energy and emotion, and in learning to navigate it, he had learned to navigate his own heart. He realized that connection was not about feeling exactly as another did, but about recognizing, respecting, and responding to their emotions. And in that understanding, he had found a spark of something truly extraordinary, a bond that could grow, deepen, and endure across worlds. The morning dawned bright and calm, and Alex awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The lessons of the Valley of Reflection and their recent trials had changed him. He was beginning to understand Yuria's world in the subtle language of the life current, and he felt a growing connection with Lyra, not identical to her own, but real and meaningful. Today, Lyra had promised would be a day that could solidify their bond. They began their journey in the city, moving toward the outskirts, where Yuria's forests became denser and more mysterious. The air was alive with energy, and Alex felt the pulse of life stronger than ever. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved gracefully, their emotions radiating as visible currents. Alex noticed small details he had missed before, the way a bird's laughter caused a ripple in the light, how a young creature's curiosity sparked gentle waves in the air. Each observation filled him with wonder, and slowly, he realized that he was not just watching, but participating. His own energy flowed subtly into the world, connecting with the life current in a way he had never imagined. Lyra led him to a wide clearing surrounded by enormous trees with glowing leaves. "This is the Heartwood," she explained. "It is the center of the planet's energy. Many come here to find clarity, to feel deeply, and to strengthen bonds. Today, you will experience it fully." Alex stepped carefully into the clearing. The air was thick with emotion, vibrant and alive. He felt his chest tighten, his mind racing with sensations he could not fully name. He realized that this place amplified feelings, making them visible and tangible. Lyra reached for his hand, and the moment their fingers touched, a surge of warmth and connection flowed through him. "You are ready," Lyra whispered. "Not to feel as I do, but to understand and care. That is the true bond between us." Alex focused, letting go of fear and expectation. He felt a current of life around him, the emotions of the creatures, the energy of the planet, and the gentle presence of Lyra. Slowly, it settled into a rhythm that he could follow. He could sense her joy, her concern, her hope, and even the lingering sadness from the past. But instead of retreating, he responded with his own human care, protectiveness, admiration, empathy, and a quiet, deepening affection. They spent hours exploring the Heartwood together, facing challenges that required teamwork and trust. They crossed rivers of light, navigated shifting terrain, and assisted creatures in need. Each act strengthened their bond, teaching Alex that connection was about action as much as feeling. He realized that his human way of caring, thoughtful, deliberate, and reflective, was as valid as the immediate resonance of Lyra's people. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant shades of violet and gold, Lyra turned to Alex.